Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It is Monday night, which means that we are playing the Masks of Nyarlathotep for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Before we get back into the adventure, promo things. So other things that we do on the channel. Every other Wednesday at the moment, we have Simba Room. So the next one is next Wednesday, the 7th of May. And roughly every other Thursday is the Yellow King. It was planned to be on this week, but may end up being on an alternative week instead. But the best place to get updates on that are our social media or Discord, which are linked below the stream. Other things linked below the stream are our other platforms, so Twitch or YouTube, depending which you're watching on, and our Patreon. So if you enjoy what we do on the channel, you can support us there. So the group are in New York after having done the Peru prologue and made good friends with Jackson Elias, who they have unfortunately since found murdered, and are investigating that and piecing together things about what he was looking into at the time and maybe who that involves. So the previous session, the group interviewed a man who had been arrested for a slew of murders and was on death row. But Jackson Elias's murder brings into question whether this was the right person was captured. So the group had a tense, precisely 30-minute conversation with this man, which was a lot of fun. They now have a few other leads to follow. So first I'm going to bring on Sam, who plays Mrs. Farwell. Hey, Sam. How is Winifred feeling about everything at the moment? You've just been to the gala.
Hi, I think Winifred's feeling quite probably the most optimistic she's felt since Jackson Elias was murdered, which is super optimistic because that was a pretty big downer. It's safe to say. But yeah, that was a really. I think she thought the gala was going to be probably useless, and there was a small chance that she would find out that Miss Carlyle was something terrible and someone who they really wanted to avoid until they were ready to confront effectively, and might be a thorn in their side. In fact, it seems like Miss Carlyle is really potentially a very helpful ally in this stuff, at least down the line, and she kind of likes her too. So that was quite a nice realization, I think. But otherwise, very nervous. Definitely very nervous about this Juju house, I think it's called, the place where, yeah, all of the murders seem to be kind of centering around. Well, at least cult activity seems to be centering around that now. And the fact that my husband decided to pop in there this evening while I was at the gala, not great.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Let's bring on John, who plays Merritt Barton. Hey, John.
Hey, Jonny.
Merritt was at the gala with Mrs. Farwell as well. How is Merritt feeling about how things are going?
I think he's feeling fairly happy that there was a bit of forward movement. He's not entirely sure that he was in any way, contributed to this forward movement. He kind of just was there when Mrs. Farwell talked to people. But that's fine. That's fine. Merritt understands that sometimes he's just there for moral support.
And great moral support he was as well. Cool. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Edwin Price. Hey, Steve.
Hi there.
How's Edwin doing? You, Edwin, went off to Teddy's bar to speak to some of the potentially innocent man's friends.
Yes, after the big interview, Teddy's bar wasn't particularly. I don't think we progressed much there. We did meet with names. Good heavens.
Many names.
Many names. Mr. Adams's friends?
Yeah, Needham Johnson, whose name you had heard as a reporter.
Hilton, there we go. Yes, Needham Johnson, Douglas Fells, Art Mills, and Jackie Wallace. There we go. I've got notes. But yes, like pretty understandably, given that one of their friends was essentially, it seems, framed for murder, and various people have been disappearing and being murdered for some time, they don't really want to get involved in things particularly, which is understandable. So he kind of bowed out of that one reasonably quickly. We did get a little bit of information about Dr. Lemming, who was the source of information for Hilton in the first place. But most people seem to think of him as a bit of a... well, they don't view him in particularly positive terms from an educational academic point of view. So we'll have to see whether this person, this Dr. Lemming, actually knows stuff or is just a bit eccentric. But you know, not all of us went off to disappear into the Juju house late at night with no backup. So there's some party members will survive.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So we are sadly sans Justin and Inga this evening. Jack will be joining us, hopefully. However, John and Sam, as you are, you had taken a carriage to the gala, I believe.
Yep.
So presumably the same back?
I think so. Yeah, it wasn't great weather, was it, in New York? So.
Okay. You, as you're on the way back, you spot people essentially being stopped by a couple of police officers. Sort of any carriage that's passing and the odd person that's passing there, stopping and having a quick word to. And
is that like a head on the road or something?
Yes. So you see this as you're approaching. So you kind of come to a crawl and then a stop behind a small queue, two carriages in front of you, essentially.
I might like ask the driver before we get to this. Is this usual? Do you know what this might be?
It ain't totally usual, but considering, I suppose there's been another murder around here recently, perhaps they're looking into it. I think they thought they got the guy, and well, maybe they don't.
See, I will be looking increasingly nervous at Merritt.
Can you both make me either psychology or spot hidden, I suppose, rolls?
Right, well, I was going to do psychology, but spot hidden's even better for me, so I'll do that. Unless it's a different thing. Am I going to get different information from these?
Potentially.
Well, I think I might roll psychology then, because that's more...
But I'll be fair, potentially different information that leads you to the same result.
Okay, fine. Spot hidden did it.
I went for spot hidden and I passed.
I got a hard success.
Okay. You, as you're watching this process take place, you notice that whenever they're sort of stopping somebody asking them questions, a decision seems to have been made before the questions start being asked. You can see that there's like an interest at first, and then it's almost as if once they've figured out who somebody is, or potentially who somebody isn't, the questions are then almost a safe face, like to, you know, to keep up a facade or what have you.
Okay. Can I, with my hard success, get any indication of what they're not finding? As in,
they're basically like kind of looking somebody up and down as they get there, and then they're realizing it's not somebody, or is somebody,
gotcha.
or isn't.
We don't know what that is yet. Okay, got it. Go on,
Yeah.
John. Sorry.
I was like, it looks like they've made their mind up before the person starts talking.
Yeah, and then they're just being waved on. Yeah.
Okay.
But they are asking a few questions, but you think that you can tell that they've already decided to move them on before they have asked them any questions.
Fake mustache.
Disguise roll, yeah.
I don't think a mustache would suit you.
It's the only disguise I packed.
You're now like first back in the queue.
Okay, yeah. I'm not doing anything special to prep. I'm just going to wait and see.
Yes. I think perhaps exiting the queue would look more suspicious than going forward.
I mean, if this is a conversation Mr. Button and I are having, I would be like, well, we have no reason to suspect they're interested in us. Certainly to stop carriages at this point. I mean, if they wanted a quiet conversation, it would be more likely we'd be called up at the hotel, right? This is a crime they're investigating, surely, if they're pulling up carriages. I'm saying this quietly where the driver can't hear us, by the way.
Yes. You're probably right, Mrs. Farwell.
Yeah, you fill me with confidence, Mr. Barton.
I just
Nonetheless, we have no choice.
would never underestimate someone's capacity for deception, especially when they have the police behind them.
Yes. Well,
You start to judder forward, and Sam, you got a hard success. You see the one of the two officers that is standing there looks into the carriage and sees you both, and you can see that there is a moment of almost confusion. So they look at you first, and then there is a moment of confusion as they look at Merritt, and then but you don't see their face change to that passive sort of thing that happened before.
okay.
And they kind of lean to the driver and say, "Good evening. Just wish to speak to your passengers." And then they share a couple of words, and he kind of leans into the back and says, "What have you folks been up to this evening?"
We've just been at a charity event. Myself and my friend here.
Very, very noble of you. And earlier today,
Excuse me, officer, what's all this about? Has there been some sort of issue?
all due respect, ma'am, that's actually none of your business.
I just want... It's quite frightening. I just wanted to be assured that we're safe. Is all.
Well, if you keep yourselves to yourselves, then I'm sure you will be, Mrs. Farwell. And they tap on the window and wave you on your way. And the carriage pulls away. And do you look at them as you're leaving?
I don't think I do. It's safe to say that the very subtlety of the warning there had me stone-faced.
Merritt does. Merritt looks back.
Okay, you see that their cordon or whatever this was is now over, and they're walking off down the street. Side by side, standard sort of, beat cop.
I will be staring at the back of the driver's head for the inevitable moment when he looks back at us like. I think I might, before we're back at the hotel, just have a quick quiet word to say, I think we're going to have a word rather soon with, what was his name? That sergeant in the police?
Lieutenant Paul.
Lieutenant, yes. I think time is very much of the essence, or else we might not be able to keep moving freely around this city.
Steve, as you separate off from Mr. Farwell and Ted, and are you walking back to the hotel? Or carriaging, taxiing?
There's a loaded question. How far are we away from
Steve,
it? It was
run.
You are like a reasonable distance from the hotel. It would be fair enough to carriage.
Yeah, I think probably carriage would be sensible.
Okay. So as you are sort of waiting to flag something down, you see a pair of beat cops walking up the street towards you. And yeah, you can make a psychology or spot hidden roll. I'll do the same for Inga for Corporal Shane. Oh no.
Oh, my dice are continuing to hate me.
Okay. I rolled terribly for Corporal Shane as well. So yeah, they walk up to you and say, "Good evening, gentlemen."
Good evening.
Oh, notice the accent. Are you having a nice time in our city?
It's quite an illuminating place. Yes.
Would you like to keep it that way?
I beg your pardon?
I said, would you like to keep it that way, sir?
I'm sorry. I must not catch the lingo. I don't quite understand what you mean.
I would just suggest that if you would like to continue enjoying our city and perhaps your freedom, then there may be some things that are, some stones that are better left unturned.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you for your concern.
Of course, sir. We're here to serve and protect. And they nod and walk off. And Jack is here. Hey,
Hello.
Jack.
Hey, Jack, we're all getting terrified here.
Yeah, that sounded intense.
Yeah,
Ted
this is super intense.
and Mr. Farwell are heading to scope out Juju House.
Yes.
Okay, so the address is in a place called Ransom Court. So Ransom Court is essentially, you've obviously looked on a map to find the location. It is basically down an alleyway that opens up into kind of a courtyard. And there is only a 1 and a 2 ransom court. So 1 ransom court is Juju House, and 2 ransom court, best as you can tell, is like a pawn shop. So this is what you've kind of figured out before you arrive there. There isn't an easy way for you to get like an overview of the courtyard. The only thing that there is that would have a view in is there is a tenement building. It's quite late now. It's probably unlikely that somebody's going to be like, sure, come in. And have a look out of my apartment window. But
I mean, it was like an art shop, wasn't it? Or is?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it open? Does it look like obviously?
No.
Okay.
Well, are you going into the courtyard?
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Let me just have a look at Justin's strict instructions for what we were going to do before I announce we're about to break in.
Go into the courtyard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, try not to be too noticeable, but we can go in a courtyard. It's it's free country with, from the sounds of it, very helpful police officers.
At least Ted thinks it is. No one else here thinks it is anymore. But
so as you are wandering into the courtyard, you can't see any lights from any sort of windows emanating as you are coming down the courtyard, and the view starts to kind of open up. What you do see as you get in there is it's also just so you know the size, it's like 20-foot square, this courtyard. So not huge. And there is somebody kind of sprawled against the wall with a bottle kind of half in their hand, and he's kind of
Okay, so he's not dead, so that's good. He's just having a great time.
But yeah, everything looks closed and locked currently.
Okay, and there's not like is there like an alleyway or something we could just sort of poke our heads down? Sort of
So you basically come down an alleyway into the courtyard, and then it's just the buildings. There's no other opening there apart from the 2 doors to the buildings, which look to be closed, and the alleyway back out.
And it's like obviously closed, like there's windows with the lights off, or is it literally just these 2 doors?
Yeah. There's lights off on everything. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like it's just
like I'm not saying that it's impossible that there's anybody in there, but it certainly isn't presenting, please come in and buy our wares.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we were going to go in and break in and do anything. If it was open, I think we were going to wander in as if we might just be looking at the art. But I don't think we were necessarily trying to cause a scene. And yeah.
You make a roll. What roll do I want? It's going to be spot hidden again, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, well, I failed that.
Okay.
I mean...
Oh, I'll make one for Justin. Oh, that's... might be a pass. It is not. It was a 30, but there's no points in spot hidden.
Wow.
Unless...
What?
Hang on.
Is it... Now you're going to tell me it's not anything into library use as well.
I'm just going to check in case there is an updated character sheet.
He
you can just
phoned
spend
me
luck on
privately,
Justin, right?
so there's no record of this conversation, but he actually told me that he's re-rolled his character and put all of them in.
I do remember the time I tried to make a sort of realistic Call of Cthulhu character that didn't have massive amounts of spot hidden and listen, and it was a really bad idea.
I've met a game with Winifred Farwell so bad, and I feel bad. It's like just all these things that I'm like, yeah, that's Max. Yeah, that's Max too. Psychology, listen, library use, spot hidden. I put 50 points into flute to counteract.
Okay.
Well, if we ever need to keep Azathoth asleep,
Indeed. Yeah.
there you go.
Like, I think it's important for player characters to have hobbies, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's how you really flesh out the character.
Right. I need a group executive decision. Would Justin spend 1 point of luck to pass that spot hidden roll?
Yeah. He would spend
Yes.
1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah. His wife is saying yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolute
Got all
peer
of Justin's
pressure.
character when he's not here, and I like this.
Okay. Maybe because Ted is looking, focusing entirely on the Juju house building and opening. He doesn't quite spot, but Mr. Farwell says, Mr. Hobbs, I believe that pawn shop may be unoccupied. In the long term, I mean. And now that he's pointed it out, when you look, it looks like relatively derelict.
Okay.
Could be somewhere that we could maybe try and access and use to keep an eye on things. If not now, then in future.
I mean, there's not going to be much harm in just trying the door while we're here.
Would you like to try the door?
I think Ted would try the door, yeah.
Okay. You now, as you get closer, you can see, like, obviously there's no lights on inside, so it wasn't totally clear, but the like any window bit in the front door is essentially boarded over now. So you're pretty certain that it is closed. It is locked. You can try and pick the lock, or you could try and boot the door down.
I could try and pick the lock.
Well, it's escalate. There's no harm in picking a lock.
Hey,
No harm
I
in
know,
picking
it's just
a
lots
knife.
of little
There's
steps.
no harm in stabbing a police officer.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
no, I think we were just going to go scope it out on the way home, I think was the sort of idea. We're not necessarily going to get too far into doing things.
I mean, but you are there right
we
now.
are there.
You also get the feeling that this is the back door to the pawn shop rather than the front door.
Maybe we should check the front door before picking the lock.
Whereas the Juju house seems like it's the front door. You guess because of the way that it's like cornered on different streets. So that side of the pawn shop, that's like a main road out the front, whereas that's not really anything behind there.
Okay, so it's not like we could go around and see the back door of Juju house or something. There's nothing to get to.
Yeah.
We could just legitimately buy the pawn shop.
How long do property transactions take in 1920s New York? Johnny, is that in the book?
I think that one depends how much you pay for it, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you grease the wheels, you know.
Yeah. Also, nothing conspicuous about this. Think about it, right?
Is the drunk guy paying much attention to it? I'm presuming he's drunk. The guy with the bottle in his hand. I don't want to assume.
You can make a psychology roll.
Yeah, go on then. No.
Are you asking Mr. Farwell as well whether he thinks he's paying attention?
Yeah, I'll go. Do you think the drunk's watching us?
Nah.
How far off was he from succeeding in his role, and how much luck does he have, Johnny?
I can tell you that Mr. Farwell has 10 in psychology, so
Both equally good at check it. Yeah, check it. I'm going to pick the lock.
Okay. Locksmith roll. Locksmith? Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it is, because that's, what I put points in it for. Not making locks. I passed.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
do sort of regret being the lawyer in this group now.
Well, this is why we're doing it while you're not here.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, you like a minute or so, and you manage to click the lock, and presumably quite gently open the door. Peer inside.
Yeah, I think if we established, I don't know if we brought it out with him. I mean, I've got a lighter on me at least, in terms of light. I don't know whether
Okay.
Mr. Farwell have brought his torch out, if he's got one. I think he's got one, but it's not. I don't think he'll have brought it.
Cool. So, are you closing the door behind you, or leaving it open?
I am going to make a. I'll ask Mr. Farwell to stay near the door and maybe leave it open slightly, because I don't want to get Justin's character killed for him.
So, are you going to leave it? Are you suggesting that it stays open, as in literally only just not clicked closed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to go
okay.
too far in, but at least now it's open if we want to get back here again, essentially. Because it doesn't seem like someone's going to come back and lock the door again if they think it's derelict and run down. So, what's it like inside, Johnny? Paint me a picture.
Okay. Everything is covered in a layer of dust. It is obviously it's very cold in New York at the moment, but it is that stale cold that you get. Like when you get in a car on a cold morning when you've not been in the car for like 3 days, and there's that cold air that's just been there. It's
all the
like
stuff
that.
in the car is cold, so yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. There are scuttling noises, and as you look around, you spot like rodent droppings, rows of empty glass cabinets and shelves, which will have been obviously used to house the sort of pawned goods. I'm assuming you're not going to try and turn any lights on or anything like that.
No, because we don't want to advertise the fact that we're in here too much. The layer of dust on the floor, is it a solid layer of the footprints or any disturbance?
No, you see no sign apart from tiny little bits of like rodent feet. And there's no like human-sized footprints in here or even anything bigger than like a rat.
Okay, and presumably the people that we think murdered Jackson Elias had human-sized feet.
Maybe they were all these rats, and that's.
That was a big pile of rats. I'm just gonna say, running down the
I
street.
know. I was picturing human-sized everything else, but little tiny rat feet.
We've had this sort of situation turn up in other role-playing games. It's possible.
It could happen.
It's possible.
How far in do I want to get? Is there like a door, not maybe adjoining, but can I see the wall that would adjoin Juju house? Or would that be in another room?
I suppose that you would. So as you've come in, so let's say when you've come down the alleyway, the door to the pawn shop is on the right hand side of the like square.
Yep.
And then straight ahead would be the door to Juju house.
Okay, so it's not necessarily.
So like
adjoined.
as you've gone in, the left hand wall, as you're looking at it, of the room that you're in, could be adjoining to the front of Juju house almost.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think so. Okay. I mean, I don't think there's much to be gained in here right now, but it could be a stakeout location if we need it. We've got access now. So I think that's probably it. We'll we'll leave. I think we'll shut the door and then we'll try it again, see if it locked behind us, just so we know for next time.
While you're inside.
No, we're getting out before we're gonna.
Okay, before you go, can you make me a listen roll?
Sure, I can. I can fail that for you as well.
I failed one for Justin as well. Okay.
That's
So
been
you
great.
leave the abandoned pawn shop. You pull the door closed, and you were saying you want to try and open it.
I just want to try it and just see whether it locks behind us or not.
No, it doesn't have an auto lock on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll shut it. We've got a place. If we want to come back here, we've got a little. Hey, if we want to just save money on a hotel room, we've got somewhere to go, and I think we'll head back to the hotel.
Okay. As you are heading towards the end of the alleyway, you see some shadows sort of come across the end of the alleyway, and you see the figure of two police officers step into view at the end. And one of them looks at you both and says, strange time of night to be buying art, gentlemen.
There's not a law against when to buy art, is there?
No. Everywhere down here is closed.
Well, yeah, we found that out when we got down here. It's hard to see from the street, though, isn't it?
To you, it is closed permanently.
And the reason for that would be
that there are some things that you should keep your nose out of, Mr. Hobbs.
I was just looking to buy some art. I'm a photographer. Maybe I was looking to sell some photos.
Sell them elsewhere. This is not a discussion.
Oh, good talk.
They kind of step out of the way to let you out of the alleyway.
All right, well, you see then, gentlemen. There is a drunk down there. You might want to check in on him. Do your jobs and look after the citizens rather than harass innocent art buyers. I think Ted might say that as he's walking away rather than straight to their face.
Are you saying it quietly?
Muttering it, maybe, yeah. But look, if they want to hear it, then I'll deal with the consequences.
Yeah,
right,
what
I'm
are
gonna
the listen
say.
stats like?
I'm gonna say, make me a stealth roll.
Yep.
How long does it take to roll a new character generally?
I told you. They're not going to make it out.
2.
Under. What's your stealth? I mean, it's very good, but
I mean, the base is 20, so
okay.
which is also my skill, which is really
Okay. Yeah, you do you mutter under your breath and then do like a little bit of a look around to see if they've heard?
And then and scurry away.
You see like a kind of little look over the shoulder, but you can tell that they don't know what was said.
I think Ted is a little bit more intimidated than he's letting on, and so he doesn't dare look around. It's more just, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you don't hear footsteps coming after you, so you think that if they'd heard you, it may have not ended
the
great.
back of the head or something.
Yeah. And yeah, presumably you're heading straight back to the hotel.
Yeah, I think after that, Ted is all talk and bravado at that point, and then after the initial thing's gone, he's actually cacking it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's let's not hang about.
Okay, so I guess everybody else probably reconvenes at the hotel a little before Ted and Mr. Farwell. But we'll just do a kind of a group debrief.
Mrs. Farwell had a funny moment where she was so distressed by all of this, she walked straight into the hotel, straight into the bar, and asked for a gin before she even realised. Which presumably they forgave, but
Yeah, I don't know what. I don't think there's necessarily a law against you saying I'd like a gin.
especially given the context of me being British, it's probably totally forgivable. But it's just an amusing scenario, I can imagine. She's now sipping probably some fruit juice with a very frustrated face in the bar.
I think if we're coming in after you, we'll sort of, presuming Mr. Farwell will come straight to you anyway. I'm guessing you guys are all sat together anyhow. So yeah, we'll join you. Where were we on the way back from? I can't remember.
You'd been to Teddy's, the saloon, to meet
Needham?
Adams's friends, Milton Adams's
Yes.
friends, Hilton Adams's friends. Sorry.
That's right. And where have the other guys been to?
A gala.
Gala, that was it.
Yeah.
I'll ask, how was the gala? Hopefully a lot more productive than our evening.
Let's say it was, yes. Miss Carlyle might actually prove a helpful ally in all this, which I was a little surprised about, I must admit. But then we got a sharp warning, didn't we, Mr. Barton?
Yes. We were stopped on the way home by a random police check that just happened to pack up and leave after they'd spoken to us.
They didn't greet you by name or use your name or give any other indication that they knew you, did they?
They did. They referred to Mrs. Farwell and seemed quite surprised that I was the one in the carriage with her.
Yeah. We had similar after our not very productive visit to Teddy's see Mr. Adams' friends. They seemed pretty reluctant to get involved and mount any sort of or help with any sort of defense of their friend. And sort of after our encounter with a police officer this evening, maybe it's not entirely unfounded. We had the similar sort of intimidation routine put upon us after we sort of paid a visit to Juju House, or attempted to, again. Only productive in that we managed to get into the derelict pawn shop next door, but I don't know what much good that will do us other than, I don't know, if you want to end up with lots of dust and some empty shelves. But yeah, as we left, a couple of police officers sort of blocked our path and definitely knew me by name, which with your encounter stands to reason they probably are aware of all of us and sort of tried to warn us off. So yeah, if you want to buy art, we're not going there.
It definitely seems like we're being surveilled quite closely if they were able to find us in 3 separate areas of the city without much effort.
Agreed. I think we're going to have to be very careful about how we move around and where we go now, assuming we're always being watched.
Yeah, they couldn't even overheard our plans, seeing as it's a bit of a spur of the moment thing for us to end up at Juju House, check it out. So it's not like they heard us planning anything here, but maybe this is a discussion we should, or things should be more discussed in our room or one of our rooms rather than a public space like this.
If anybody wants to make an idea roll, everyone can.
Yeah.
Sure.
I rolled a 6.
800.
Fast.
I rolled exactly on my idea with 55.
Okay. I was probably going to say it was a hard anyway, but Steve has definitely succeeded. So when you're thinking about how heavily you may be and may have been surveilled, you cast your mind back to earlier this afternoon, the conversation that you had had with Hilton Adams. You had asked Hilton Adams whether he thought that anybody in the prison was perhaps on the payroll. And he said that he didn't think that the gentleman who was taking care of you was on their side, but he said that he had seen some prison staff sort of giving him long looks as he'd walk past and that kind of thing. And then you think of the very strange interaction that you had with the guard at the gate. And with the timings, you think that it is not beyond the realms of possibility that he has fed information back if he is on their books, and that all they would have needed potentially was your hotel address to then be able to follow you for the rest of the evening and put the scares in you at the end of the night. So potentially, you know, as much as it is still very concerning, you think that you could have put together all of that in that time. So it's not necessarily, you know, outside the realms of possibility and like that kind of level of conspiracy that is terrifying at the highest levels kind of thing. Because they could have just gone from the prison to the hotel and then spread out and followed you. Potentially.
Yes, we might have to change hotel, I think. I think it would be good to get a clean start if we want to remain in the city.
Try and make sure no one knows which hotel we're going to at this point, at least, other than perhaps people we trust. Maybe as much as possible contact via telegram rather than go to see them.
And perhaps following Jackson's example of using the staff exit rather than the front entrance.
That's probably not a bad shout.
Ultimately, it didn't help him, though, did it?
It didn't.
No.
And that's what worries me most. I feel like if these... have we moved to the room yet? And the next thing I was going to say...
That's up to you. You can just say that you have.
Is there anyone else in the bar?
Can I say we've moved to the room now? Is that okay?
I'm happy.
It's quite late. There's probably nobody else in there other than the one person behind the bar.
And can we say we've propped the mattress up against the door, maybe, just to muffle?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We're in the room. I was going to say, and it's not just corrupted cops that worry me. It's who they might be connected to and what those people might do. I don't think it's likely that the police are going to suddenly shoot us or do something else terrible to us, but the people they associate with might well do. And there's a good chance they've passed that information on directly.
Do any of our rooms have... Between all our rooms, do we have a view of the front of the hotel and the back of the hotel, or just the front, or just the back? This is probably something you've not actually thought about, Jonny, because...
I would say between the number of rooms that you've got, you would have at least one of each.
Could I take a look out the front, one of the front windows, and just see if there's anyone hanging about? because it's getting reasonably late now after a gala and everything. So it'd be weird, I guess, for someone just to be stood there watching the hotel. I suppose
you see it, let's say that you look for a minute. You see a couple of people walk past in different directions. You don't see anybody standing. Sort of in that classic creepy across the road, hat and trench coat. So yeah, you certainly don't get a feeling of being surveilled as you look out that window.
Okay.
I suppose we can hope this is a warning and not an intention to carefully monitor us.
I mean,
or do something even worse.
Presumably they're going to keep watching us to see if the warning is stuck, but you don't warn someone off something like this to immediately, break into their hotel room that night. So hopefully tonight we're okay. But
as I say, it's
probably think about.
It won't be much comfort to us, but I suspect if another... How many are we? 6 officially?
Yeah.
If getting rid of the whole lot of us would cause ripples. I'm not sure they'd want to leap into such drastic action without... Well, honestly, I don't want to think about it too much. I would much prefer...
Yes, yeah, exactly. You'll forgive me if it's not the greatest comfort. That it would be hard to cover up all of our murders.
If they do want to get rid of us, they only need to set one of us up before we're all linked to Jackson's murder.
We really need to talk to this Lieutenant Poole, and quickly.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as possible, I agree. But how do we do it without them knowing we've done it? Because the second we do, we put him in a very difficult position if anyone knows we've done it. I think, if possible, we need to get a message to our journalist friend post haste, but without anyone knowing we've done it. I'd really rather not make her life any more difficult than it already is as well.
Will she be at the reading of the will tomorrow? Or the day after? I've lost track of what day's what.
It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow, yeah. I don't think that you know that.
Even if she's not, though, Jackson's publisher, whose name escapes me at the minute, presumably
Kensington.
will be. And we could use him as a bit of a proxy to get in touch with her.
That might be a good idea. They can't.
Assuming he's not being...
Everyone. They can't monitor everyone we associate with, can they?
No, exactly. And, I mean, we've got good reason to be going to the will reading. That's not suspicious as doing exactly what we've, I guess, not came here for, but what would be reasonable for us to do in this situation.
I think we trust Kensington, so perhaps if we find a newer hotel first thing tomorrow morning, make sure we find it without being traced, hopefully, in a way that leaves us incognito. Then we can pass on the new address to Kensington to pass on to... What's her actual name? Sorry?
Schoenberg.
Then she could get in touch there. And no one else will know we're there, I hope.
Would it make sense if we maybe, it's just in the morning split up to look for a hotel, rather than the 6 of us all find the same hotel and arrive at the same time and they need one person to follow us? If we split up even into pairs, we find 3 and then make a final decision at the will reading where we'll all be and where we're actually going to stay that night.
Agreed. That sounds sensible.
Okay. John?
Yeah.
you look like...
I'm just... Yeah. No.
Worried?
I have nothing to say.
I think we're all pondering.
We're all strategizing of things we can do, and nothing specific is in the mind, but it's like, well, maybe. I feel like my next step is looking at a map by candlelight over the evening, but I don't really need to do anything more with that other than paranoid stare at a map. I'm definitely not sleeping tonight. There's no way I'm sleeping tonight.
I think I'd already checked whether our rooms had fire escapes outside. Yeah, if any of them did, I'd definitely want a room change. But
oh, you're going to be sorry if there's a fire, though. Maybe that's how they get you.
What the irony it would be.
Accidentally sets room on fire looking at map over candlelight.
Exactly. There we go.
It would be the long game of the cult, wouldn't it? They make you so paranoid of fire escapes that eventually they catch you in a building and burn it down.
This is becoming very series of unfortunate events now. Which is another potential name for this campaign, I suppose. Okay, has anybody got anything else that they want to do before turning in for the evening?
No, I think hit the hay.
It's pretty late now, I guess.
Yeah.
Big day tomorrow.
Are you planning on sort of getting up and heading out early to potentially...
Yeah, I think...
You know, if you think there's going to be like a tail, are you thinking maybe if you go out earlier, they may not have been...
I mean, we want to check out from the hotel, so I don't want to like be impolite and not sort out paying for things, because that would also potentially be suspicious. But as early as you could reasonably check out, I think.
Okay.
And perhaps use an alternative exit if that's an option. But again, I don't want to be super suspicious about it.
So I think you could feasibly do 7 a.m. and that wouldn't be a problem.
I presume people leave, in a New York hotel, leave reasonably early. It would be unheard of to, especially international travellers.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, 7 would not seem suspicious.
Yeah.
So, like, if say, for example, the police came in and were asking questions about whether anybody had done anything weird or gone in the middle of the night or anything, they wouldn't necessarily flag you up if the police didn't ask for you by name, if they were trying to be covert or what have you.
And we've all agreed we're going to tell the hotel that we're like heading out now. We're heading onward from our journey out of the city. So if the police ask after us, we're telling them we're leaving, which is quite plausible after we've been threatened, right?
Well, yeah. I think the impression that we're going to give is we're going to the will reading, and then we're getting on a boat and heading home.
Exactly.
Which is,
cool.
Makes it plausible.
And I would really like, as best we can, to make that a reality. They don't see us again after the will reading.
Okay, so you're going straight out and looking for other hotels, split into 3 groups. Is that your plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Cool.
I think so, yeah. Keeping an immeasurably close eye out for being tailed.
Yeah. Everyone can make spot hidden rolls. And I'm going to say that between you, in fact, I'll let you do those. Oh, and I suppose if you're doing those, it'd be good to know who's in the groups.
I'll probably go with my husband.
Yeah.
I did an extreme success.
Oof.
I'm happy to go with anyone.
Well, I failed, so
I'm going to go with John.
Cheers! Thanks. Wow.
And now Jack's going to say he succeeded.
No, I massively failed. So.
Okay. So none of you spot anybody. You certainly do not think that you are being like closely. You don't think that there is resource on you all the time. Between the group of you, you basically think that was a scare tactic, and they would find out if you did anything else that was going to bother them, so they don't need to have somebody watching you. But that's kind of the vibe that you're getting from it. So you don't necessarily think that you need to be looking over your shoulder all the time. Although you think it's probably still a good idea to change hotel, because if you were spotted somewhere, they at least might not know where you've gone back to. So yeah, between the group of you, you find sort of 3 okay hotels. I would, yeah, go on, Sam.
I would like to first go to the library and look at a map of the New York Police Department jurisdictions, and then get a hotel that is outside of the jurisdiction of the current police department, even if it means getting like a long carriage ride back into Amsterdam. That's my main objective here.
Yeah, fine. You managed to find one of a similar quality to the one that you have been staying in, at a similar price. So I think, I think everybody was reasonably comfortable there. So that would be, I guess, your recommendation to the group. And yeah, you both the other groups find somewhere of a little above or below that quality and price. And are you literally doing that and then reconvening at the will reading?
I think so. I don't think we arranged to meet anywhere earlier before, did we?
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense.
So you had been given Ramsey's office address. I think he gave you his card at the funeral. And so you arrive, and
Johnny's suitable T-shirt in this moment.
And on knocking, Ramsey's niece and secretary, Willa Sly, answers the door and says, "Oh, please come in." And she directs you inside. The office is small and quite simply decorated, but neat. And Ramsey opens another door, which you see is to his office, and says, good afternoon. Shall we? And invites you in. So you go in, and there's a desk as you would expect, and a couple of reasonably nice settees, leather settees that you sit in, very comfortable. And he closes the door after you're all in, and he unlocks a cabinet and pulls it down, and pulls out a bottle of what you think is bootleg bourbon, and says, "For Jackson."
That seems appropriate.
And brings out a set of glasses, and pours everybody a drink.
All your customers. Do you do this for all your customers?
I think that would get me in a lot of trouble, Mrs. Farwell. I am
much appreciated.
Presuming that as friends of friends, we can be discreet.
Yes, I think discretion is certainly key for the lot of us. Jackson
Gesture
too.
is great. Gesture is greatly appreciated.
And you spend a little time kind of recounting stories and just having a general chat before he lets you know that basically he has no other appointments this afternoon. So you spend a little time maybe being more relaxed than you've been at all in the last few days, actually. talking about a mutual friend and having a nice drink in a warm,
is anyone else
comfortable
here?
office. No.
Anyone else here?
His niece is not in the room. She's still outside. You can hear the clacking of a typewriter occasionally.
Cool.
And has anybody got anything specific they want to say during that section? I kept hearing people maybe sounding like they were going to say something.
I will, as he's pouring out, I will ask for a ceremonial quantity and explain that I do not tend to consume liquor, but for Jackson.
Yeah, he sort of tips the glass on an edge and pours, so there's like that much in the bottom corner of the glass, like, a sip's worth essentially.
Thank you.
And nods as he passes it. And then his face turns a little more serious as he realizes that you kind of have to get round to business, and says, I'm afraid I have to begin this actually with an apology. I slightly led you astray for all of our benefits, I think, when I told you that Jackson had not recently updated his will at the funeral. I was a little concerned about prying eyes and ears. He actually, the day before his death, came and updated his will. He didn't say to me, but it seemed like somebody who thought the end may be near and wanting to get their affairs in order. So, sadly, it seems I was correct. I hope you understand my reasoning for doing that. Okay. And he pours everybody another little drink apart from Merritt. Where he kind of looks at you and like with the assumption that you don't want one. It continues around. And he says, okay. And he proceeds with the reading of the will. The main points of which are he has given full power of attorney to Carlton Ramsey, who has authority to liquidate his assets. He is instructed to use those assets to create and manage a fund. He requests that any friends of his who attend the reading of the will make use of the fund to continue his investigation into the Carlisle expedition. Ramsey will make disbursements from the fund to pay for travel, accommodation, living costs, equipment purchases, legal bills, and medical expenses. The investigators should make sure they acquire the necessary receipts and send them on to Ramsey in a timely fashion. Ramsey is also to act as a central point of contact for those involved. If the group splits into multiple groups, he will coordinate communications between them. He will also assist with recruitment if the investigators need to hire people with special skills or to bolster their numbers should any of them be unable or unwilling to continue. And when he visited Ramsey the previous week, Elias also left a note to be read to the investigators in the event of his death. Which is as follows. Greetings from beyond the grave. By now you know that I've really left you in a whole heap of trouble. If I was still around to have an opinion on the matter, I would understand if you decided to walk away from it all. Hell, if I'm dead right now, that's a good indication I should have done the same. But you know me too well, and I know you too well. If you were the kind of people who always did the sensible thing, we wouldn't be such good friends. You have been there when I needed you in the past, and I hope you will be again, even if it's too late to save me. I've been pulling threads all over the world, and while most of them are still unraveling, I think I'm onto something big. Carlton and Jonah can fill in more of the details for you. I've left some of my papers and notes with them, which should help you work out which hornet's nests you need to poke next. I trust you to bring my killers to justice. Of course, I'm assuming I was murdered. It would be just plain embarrassing if I was run over by the trolley car. Follow my investigation to its bloody end and seek out the truth. I'm not asking you to finish my book. None of you can write worth a damn. Your friend, always, Jackson.
That was a burn.
What have I done?
Had to get one more jab in, honestly.
The Ramsey also informs you that the total value of the assets comes to a little over $50,000. This isn't in the will, but he points out on a personal note that some of that may have come from Peru. He also hands over some documents and says he asked me to take copies of a bunch of things when he came to me the day before. So, yeah, and hands over a folder with a bunch of hand-copied things. So a number of them are the same as the things that you got from his apartment. The others, you assume, may have been taken by the people who killed him because they weren't in the apartment, or maybe they were just scattered around and you didn't have time to find them before the police came or what have you. But you gain, I will send these as well, but I will share so yeah, this business card for Emerson Imports. A letter on Harvard University letterhead written to Mr. Jackson Elias. Dear Mr. Elias, the book about which you inquired is no longer in our collection. The information you seek may be found here in other volumes. If you will contact me upon arrival, I will be most happy to further assist you. As always, Miriam Atwright, Harvard University Library. And finally, this flyer poster for a lecture by Professor Anthony Cowles titled The Cult of Darkness in Polynesia and the Southwest Pacific. He's from the University of Sydney. Yeah, so those are the new items that you gain access to, which I will move into that folder that you have access to.
Could we? I know you've. Oh no, you're about to put them in the thing. I was going to ask if we could have another look at that business card, because
Yeah, I can put that up again.
awesome.
The name on it was the proprietor, Silas and Kwane. Yeah, the proprietor of Juju House, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, the other bits that you are you happy with that, John? You done with that?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, the other papers that you got access to are the ones that are labeled Carlisle papers 4 to 9, I think. Does that sound right? Oh no, ignore me.
We have Carlisle papers 1, 2.
Yeah, it's the America ones.
The America ones are
Yes.
3, 4. We've got 1
Yeah,
to 4 and 8, 9, 11, 12.
Yeah, so it was 1 to 4 that you had already.
Yeah.
And then 5, 6, 7 are those ones that you've gained. So 1 to 4 are the ones from the apartment.
Cool.
Because 8 was the image of the forehead. And so on. Yeah.
What's that one? Oh, that one.
So Ramsey says, and so we don't need an answer straight away, of course, but your access to this fund is, of course, dependent upon your agreement to carry on Jackson's work, leaving out the writing of the book, of course. He says and cracks a little smile.
I imagine I would be speaking for all of us when I say at the very least we are now thoroughly bound to finding who really killed him and what's going on. And I think there is no doubt that that will connect to a much broader mystery, which I, for one, don't feel like I'm going to be letting go of anytime soon.
I think that fairly sums up my feelings on the matter. I mean, we'd largely been doing that for free anyway.
Well, it does seem that something of this magnitude, it is no light matter, yes, will require a great deal of connections and, yes, funds as well. I still wonder whether we are the right people to do it, but then again, I don't suppose there is anybody else.
Yeah, no one else seems to be too interested in even investigating his death, do they? So it sounds like that's not a simple thing to figure out, is it? So I think we're all in it.
We are certainly, yes, we are involved, I think, whether we like it or not at this point.
Well, as I said, no need to decide immediately, but you can feel free to contact me at any time, and as long as your receipts are sent as described, and can be fairly attributed as relevant to the terms of the will, then I will certainly not delay in repayment. And as also stated, I can assist with communications, logistics. If you need somebody, the example I was going to use was a translator, but of course you have your own. But if you need a skilled person of any type, I am happy to find someone.
I assume you intend to stay here in New York. If that is the case, be wary, I suppose. We've certainly found the authorities here difficult to deal with, and I imagine if you're associating with us or others who might be investigating these sorts of things, they could make your life difficult.
Thank you for the warning. But I would hope if I am simply carrying out my duties, I'll be left to my own devices. I would hope.
Yes, regarding communication, we do have somewhat of a pressing matter that you might be able to assist us with. We have a need to, well, and I'll look around the rest of the party to sort of gauge whether, what level we feel happy opening up, whether we just want to ask him to contact the journalist, or
you get a verbal, you get a non-obvious thumbs up from me.
We really need to speak off the record with Lieutenant Poole of the police. He was present at he attended the scene of Jackson Elias's death, and given our interactions with some other members of the police force, it would seem we need to get friends in the police department, and we need to get them soon. So if there's any way we can get in touch with Lieutenant Poole, I believe Mr. Schosenberg, the journalist, might know how to contact him. But I think we are being observed. So
I had thought about contacting her immediately to meet, but I don't know if. Well, you know the city better than us. It's a bit of a nerve-wracking situation to be in, it's safe to say.
Yes, understandably. Well, certainly anything that you provide to me is confidential and would not be turned over. So, I can pass on any messages. I can, help in any way I can. Do
you think we should, and again, turning to the group, do you think we should maybe pick a location and arrange a meeting with this Paul fellow?
My concern is, how do we contact him without drawing attention? It might well be that he could move freely, but how can he be contacted freely? We don't even know. I think we need to speak to Schosenberg first.
Okay.
Speaking of, could we send a message from here?
Yes, of course. I can send a telegram and
perhaps it's office hours at the moment, right, Johnny?
Yeah. It's 2 p.m. on a Monday currently, or half 2, 3 o'clock now.
I'm trying to figure out, because was it like, no, telephones weren't in regular use yet, were they? Were they?
You do,
Sort of on the threshold of it.
but this two-person office,
Yeah,
very
no,
unlikely.
Good point. It's a good point. You might have it from a hotel, but you wouldn't have it. Because I was thinking a reporter probably would have quite high tech, but we
Yeah.
wouldn't. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I will look around the group then and say, I don't know if you had particular luck with your hotels. I went for one just outside the jurisdiction of the local authority, thinking it might make it harder for them to follow us. Does that sound sensible as a place to go tonight?
Yeah, I mean, that
think
makes
so.
sense.
Seems reasonable to me. I suspect if we stay here for any length of time, we might have to move hotels on a number of occasions.
Well, let's go for that one first, and I will scribble down the address for the telegram. So, shall we head straight there after this and say, meet us there as soon as possible, or send us a message there at the very least?
It'd probably be wise to maybe not all travel there at once in a group again. If we are being tailed, they might
We
expect
still
that.
think we're being tailed at this point. I mean, I don't think we are anymore. I'm worried that we might be followed if we do something risky, but I'm hoping by now they're not watching our every move.
I think it's more likely that they're watching their own operation close enough that they believe if we get anywhere near it, they'll pick us up then.
Exactly. Hopefully going up way away from them. I hope we'd be safe enough. I'm slightly more worried that Miss Schoenberg might be being watched, to be honest, given she's investigated them and she knows about them. I'll send her a message and say to get in touch as soon as possible. And she can make her mind up about how that might be. And I will do that, Jonny. I'll write a message and just say, this is where we'll be. Please get in touch as soon as possible. We won't say
Yep, no
anything else.
problem.
No details.
So are you saying to get in touch via phone, telegram, or in person, or are you leaving that open?
I don't think I'm specifying.
Okay.
So she can make her mind up, yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else that you would like to use Carlton Ramsey for while you're here?
I don't think so.
I could think of right now. How is best to get in touch with you? Send telegrams to this office and you will pick them up regularly, or?
Yes, of course I will pick them up regularly, or you are welcome to attend in person, depending on how easy that is for you on a given day. But the locked cabinet can always be unlocked. He says, pointing back to the bourbon cabinet.
Tempting offer.
But yes, any method is fine. This is far well.
We could. I wonder, Mr. Ramsey, whether you would be able to find us contact information for Dr. Lemming.
The one from the papers?
That's the one.
I'm sure I could. Find that.
I'm not sure if we need to contact him, but it would be handy to have details in case we do.
Sure. Should I send them to the hotel for you?
Yes, I think that would be good.
We might end up moving hotel at some point, given we're all a little paranoid now. We'll make sure to let you know if we do. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot everyone. Mr. Barter and I have an invitation to. Well, I suppose all of us may have an invitation to go and visit Miss Carlyle at her house. Was it tomorrow, Johnny? That appointment? In all the excitement of being traced by these police, I completely forgot to mention. So, maybe a potential ally, or at least some useful information to be gained from her. She didn't seem at all interested in her brother's, well, quite scathing about her brother's adventures, to be honest, but I feel like there's something she would maybe able to offer us nonetheless.
You certainly do with friends in this venture. Yes. Well done.
Well, I would like her as a friend. She was a charming woman.
You did seem to get on quite well.
She knows what's what. Anyway, is that all here then? Shall we make our move?
It's it's been a pleasure to see you all again, and I will get you those contact details.
Thank you.
Anything else, please? Do not hesitate.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey.
Thank you.
I suppose stay safe is the apt farewell at the moment.
We shall certainly endeavour to. Thank you.
Cool. You head out, and his niece smiles and nods at you all as you leave. Are you then each taking sort of paired different ways back to the new hotel, or are you? Is Ted content that?
No, everyone, has just been putting my writing down today, putting my ideas down. So,
as I said that, I was like, that's worse for Ted than anyone else.
Well, clearly, it's just because he thought of you for your amazing photography skill, right? That's it. That's what he knows you for.
I guess.
It's an odd method of phrasing it, Mr. Barton.
But, okay, so you go and check in at your new hotel. Is there anything else that you are particularly planning on doing in the next hour after you arrive, or are you kind of going to settle in a little bit?
I suppose first of all, I would just check if we have any messages arrive for us beforehand, but I might well be waiting a bit longer.
So go on, John.
I was going to do a slightly surreptitious pace of the block to get the lay of the area.
I was wondering about a vibe check. Yeah.
Okay. You don't see anybody that looks to be keeping an eye on you. There is a nice looking deli and a nice looking sort of convenience-y a greengrocer's kind of thing that sells a couple of other things as well. So yeah, you can eat here, you can drink here. You won't need to stray too far for comforts. And yeah, it seems like a reasonably kind of buzzing little neighborhood kind of block. And yeah, nothing to kind of point at somebody keeping an eye on you.
Wonderful. No ominous red scarves or big signs saying cultists are here kind of thing.
What are those fire exits look like?
And then, after maybe you do your scope of the block and then head back in, and there are 2 messages waiting for you. One of which is from Carlton Ramsey, which has an address for Dr. Lemming, which is the Murray Hill Hotel on East 40th Street and Park Avenue. And then one from Rebecca Schosenberg saying, we'll meet you there at the end of the day.
That's what I wanted. Perfect. Good job, Rebecca.
And I think that may be a reasonable point to call it for the week.
Yeah,
Cool.
It felt like a really busy day. We're 20 minutes before the 2-hour mark, but that felt like a lot happened.
There's a fair amount of stuff to go over now.
Well, we had to cart all our luggage across New York, so
Pretty knackered. Yeah.
True. Get them into the carriage, take them out of the carriage. Oh,
You mean get somebody to put them into the carriage? Get
exactly.
somebody to take them out of
Instructing
the
someone how
carriage.
to do it. It's so difficult.
Cool. Any questions or comments from people? Please put them in the chat. We'll chat about them in a moment.
Ed, no, you've turned the case the wrong way around.
Thanks, everyone. Stuff below the video. There's links to our social media, our Discord, which you can join and come and chat with us, our Patreon, which you can support us if you enjoy what we do on the channel, and our other streaming and watching platforms, so YouTube or Twitch, depending on what you're watching on. Other things on the channel, Simba Room, which is on every other Wednesday, so that's next Wednesday. There's talk of that maybe going more frequent. And then the Yellow King, roughly every other Thursday, not on this week, and maybe on next week and the week after, maybe. But join the Discord. Everything will become clear. We are not going to be on next week. It is a bank holiday and too many people are busy. So we will be back on whatever the day it is, the 13th. Wait, that seems unlucky.
Perfect.
Oh, no, it's the 12th. It's the 12th. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Phew. Dodged a bullet.
Cool. Any questions or comments? John, in the chat?
yeah. Oh no, it's kept the comments from last time. I did not want that one. We have this suggestion for dealing with the cop cordon.
I wonder if there is any way to convince the car behind you to make a run for it. I kind of glance read that at the time and didn't quite catch exactly what it said because I was concentrating on what I was doing. But yeah, that would be funny. Like a kind of inception to the car behind. So just, speed away.
We had a reaction to the presence of Skaven.
The Ratspiracy rears its ugly head again. Yeah.
We had. Well,
What
there's no
giant
Ratman.
rats?
There's no Ratman living under New
crazy.
York. That's ridiculous.
What sort of crazy person would imagine giant rats?
Next, you'll be talking about giant turtles under there. We have this absolute vote of confidence from Max Reiter.
What? Why are the cops after them? What did they do?
Innocently tried to purchase art late at night.
Via entering a
The
different
wrong shop.
building.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't mention that because we had no defense as to why we were breaking an entry into the shop next door. Like,
You probably just, bareface it. You've left that door open. Why is that door open?
So I was going to be nice there, and if you'd made the listen roll while you were inside, you would have heard them coming around the front of the shop.
no, I'm too busy listening to the monsters.
I had this thought.
Yeah, if Harvard and Miskatonic have collegiate beef with each other, which one's the spookiest? That's the beef.
Okay.
I realize I don't actually know how prestigious Miskatonic University is supposed to be. Like, is it like a renowned university, Miskatonic, or is it like, oh, you
It's
went
because-
there?
I got a notepad from there, so I don't know how prestigious that makes it, seeing as you know me.
I mean, you have to be pretty prestigious to be giving out notebooks.
That's
I
true.
can't help but feel, by its very nature of all of the Eldritch, probably not very mainstream things that are studied there. It's probably not Harvard level, right?
Yeah, it feels like the 1920s version of the online university that sells you courses on like how to read crystal energies.
Yeah, they
Let me
publish all
tell
of their
you.
papers in.
Let me tell you that on miskatonic-university.org,
Oh,
it says Miskatonic University is a highly selective and specialized institution that many from all over the world apply for admission. That's not even a sentence. That's gone well, hasn't it?
every university says that on their website.
I mean, isn't it
Usually with
Miskatonic
better
that
grammar.
in Dunwich Horror someone gets mauled to death or something in the library? So
It does then go on to say, be among the lucky few who can say they attended and survived their studies at Miskatonic University.
Presumptive.
Yeah.
And we had this final comment from 42.
Just some constructive criticism from a dead man. Yeah, Ted.
look,
Up your
right,
game.
Ted's right. He might not be the best, but at least he's not ended up killing him.
Yeah, I mean, like if
I-
Jackson had spent less time being sassy and more time watching his surroundings.
There's the tagline for the Telling Tales playthrough
That is.
of Masks.
I love
If
Steve
only
Collins
Jackson had
1914.
spent less time being sassy and more time looking at his surroundings.
Can you imagine if we'd said that, like, at the funeral, the will reading? If only. Like, genuinely mournful, you know?
Do you know what though? When we were doing the will reading, I was thinking, I'm so glad we did the Peru chapter because this guy's like, have a load of money, and if you don't know the Peru bit, it's like,
Yeah. It
Who
would
is
be
this
weird
guy?
without the Peru thing. Like, presumably this all plays out the same without the Peru bit. Is that true, Johnny? Broadly, anyway.
I think apart
Or
from
does
it
it really-
doesn't say it doesn't say the money came from Peru. I don't think if you don't do that bit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just,
That-
he is your friend who
that's
has
weird.
some money and gives you loads of money.
It's like you have to do the whole suspension of disbelief. You probably know this guy from some big past stuff, right?
but
that
potentially you
haven't
guys
played.
don't know each other, depending on how you've
Yeah, like,
set your characters
Yeah.
up or whatever.
I think
But you've
that's
also
how
got
it's
this
supposed to
weird-
be.
You don't
I
know
think
each
the
other.
idea is that you've worked with Jackson, but you haven't worked together on
Gotcha.
something.
So you're kind of at the funeral is your early meeting sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
There is always, that assumption that players playing a role-playing game will actually, take the hook
Yeah.
rather than just sort of sit there and
But
scorn it.
It's always that
Peru
fun
does-
moment as a GM where you're like,
Oh God, yes,
So
please.
this guy has come into the tavern and said that there is a bounty on this person.
Mhm.
What's it to me? I don't.
Yeah, right. I'm only halfway through my beer.
Mhm.
But what I need to know is the
I
layout
like
of
them.
7 rooms, so I can.
No, I want to know
I
about
love
the
these.
intricate backstory of the barman.
Yeah,
Why is he like that?
100%.
Why does he have that voice? Clearly, there's
Also-
something going on there.
Where is Barrow, by the way?
I was gonna. Yeah, I was gonna drop Paramount. Yeah.
You also just made me think of the woman in Versen that had the
Oh,
house that you
yeah.
were
yes.
staying in, and I couldn't
No,
I couldn't in my brain get the accent right, so instead she was just like hello, and just became an entire thing. You never went
Worked
back
out.
there.
The whole plot line. We need to have a
You
whole
never
plot
went
line.
back
revolving
there
around
to
that
free
one
her
woman.
from the.
We
person that was.
No, I think we talked about it.
There was distracted.
There was like we were like, but what about her? And we established that there was an off-camera once everyone was safe and no one was getting married moment where we went back and saved her.
Like it wasn't like you went like, let's have the big end of campaign scene on the island. By the way, now what do you want to do next? You know, you can next. We didn't really have the chance, did we, Jonny?
That's true. That's true. It's my fault. Anyway, that's another universe.
I thought Steve's comment at 9:14 was worth bringing up as well. That one made me chuckle.
Which one? No, 9:14.
It's so accurate.
I mean, basically.
It's exactly what he's bloody got and done, isn't it? I bequeath to you all of my enemies. Yeah.
Yeah. Spot on.
From Max Writer. So they lived.
For now.
Currently.
Yeah, exactly, Jack.
I mean,
Oh,
10 was close. 10 was.
That was.
Oh boy, I was really hoping that you weren't going to succeed, but
Wow.
Fun.
Wow.
Max Writer has also asked, who are they dealing with besides the police? Maybe a cult, but definitely the people who murdered their friend.
I mean, who was also definitely probably closely connected to the police and very murderous. So, you know, we're not in any danger at all, right?
So in a similar campaign, Adrift in Time, another group, 2 people joined the group, 2 players. They rolled new characters. Their first interaction with the campaign was to go off and investigate some building. It was basically, you know, we split the group. One group went off to do something. These 2 went, oh, well, we don't know much about the area. Let's go and talk to the people in this building. We never saw them again. The characters, we never saw the characters again. They had to roll new characters. So that was the quickest character inception to death I've ever seen.
Wow.
Basically one scene off camera. They just didn't come back.
Amazing.
The players did that.
That would be even more dramatic if the players didn't too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Incredible.
shouldn't give you ideas, really, should I? Sorry. Pretend you didn't hear anything, Jonny.
Cool. I think that is everything. So yeah, we will be back on the 12th. We're off next week. Simbaroom should be on next week as well. And Yellow King may be on next week. Join us on the Discord, which is linked below. And you can get all of that info up to date. But yeah, we will hopefully see you on the 12th. Goodbye.